Hello, everyone. So in this interview, we'll focus towards embedded C, a Q question that you may encounter. Very popular, definitely on the easier side. So let's try to split apart the video. So in the first video, we'll just say that, we'll ask a candidate that, hey, let's create a Q.H, header file only, no implementation. So with C, this might be starter code given to you is, I want some kind of a Q init, push, pop, and being able to get the size back. So I can leave the question as is. I can say, let's go ahead and start coding. And, one of the keys that we'll try to remind you guys is, always, ask questions, have a conversation in an interview. So the candidate should say that, okay, so these are the APIs you'd like me to define. Can I define these APIs? Can I define parameters for these APIs? So the answer would be yes. So I think the first parameter that candidate should be thinking about is I need to give these APIs like which queue. So, queue init might be, I want to do a queue initialization on this queue type. I want to do a queue push on this particular queue, a queue pop on this particular queue size on this particular queue. One of the good things that you may want to, that interviewer will want to see is, maybe the queue size is a const queue size, because we don't have any intention to change the data structure. We don't have any intention to mutate this data structure. So this is a good start. So to define a Q.H API, I need a data structure. I need to initialize something, push something to a queue, pop something from a queue, have bool return types for push and pop in case, the queue is full or the queue is empty for pop. Those are the failure condition to catch in the push and pop. And then this is the queue size, so actually should be maybe a size type. If std bool doesn't give a size type, it'll be somewhere else, but this should work. So if I compile this program, so far so good. Let's do a little bit of a test. So can I do something like this, where you have a queue, and then can I do queue init with this queue handle, just to exercise the code a little bit. So a little bit of test-driven development is that, well, now it says that, hey, your queue init that you wanted to do is not there. So let's just set up a skeleton for that. So we will do u.c, copy this queue init over. Okay, does this compile? Okay, it doesn't want me to omit this parameter name. Okay, one more that I had a theory about, that it was going to complain about std size type. So I think size type can be std lib.h definitely has it. So now it says, okay, because this is a C program, I have to surround this with something like this, which is another topic. So let's see if this works, if my memory serves me correct. Okay, so we're getting closer. Now it says the size of this queue is 0, so something like this. Okay, So the first thing I'd like to see in candidates is, can they define the APIs? So given just a skeleton for init, push, pop, and size, can they define the skeleton of the code? So I'd like to see these parameters getting added, right? So every C API needs to operate on the parameter. Typically, the first parameter is the data structure you want to operate on. So init, push, pop, and the queue size. And the last one, queue size, is a const. So I haven't written the code for it. So that's part 2 of the video. In part 1 of the video, I just like to see candidates identify just the header file by itself, just to give me an understanding of, can they even talk the C language with me, right? Can they even figure out that I'd like to define a data structure and pass the data structure as a first parameter? One tiny little note on the first parameter. In C++, the first parameter is automatic because you have functions that are member of a class. In C, you're kind of doing that manually. So that's why the first parameter is not required, but it is ideal and considered good development practice. So the first parameter is the data structure that the API operates on. So this is the API and it operates on a queue. So let's pause it here because in subsequent video, we'll actually go ahead and start to implement this queue to give you a practice of basic queue.